This is Coffee with Creators. I'm Xerxes. With me we have Ishan, and we are here to talk about his career in action photography. He specializes in motorcycles and races, and in fact, we've seen Ishan go to Dakar, the rally twice, right? Once in Peru, one thrice. Okay, my bad. Three times over, he's been the official photographer at Dakar, and he's been living the Dakar life. And for those of you who do not know what Dakar is like one of the most dangerous rallies in the world, where one or two people casually die every year. I should not be making a joke of it, but people go there, and it's tough, and it's not any easier to capture that action. So, Ishan, over to you. How have you been? Let's just go easy with you.
Yeah, let's take it smooth. Yeah, let's not rush into it. It's been good. I've been uh, keep myself occupied following various motorsports that have been happening around the world, especially during the
Mm-hmm.
lockdown now, like
Mm-hmm.
Formula One's in Monaco today. So we've just been so that gets you a sense of normalcy when you look okay everywhere around things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe over here it's not happening, but life is important, so you have to sometimes step back and just give it rest. But in general, it's been good. The start of the year was, I mean, not even the start. I mean, I come back to what you, when Augie and you spoke, or when Rowan and you spoke. You said you had a job for 9 years, and then one day you left, and now this everything was going good, and then the lockdown came in, but now we don't have somebody putting their money into our bank account. Augie's version was that he was happy that he had a proper job that he could do. So yeah, we know both the sides that we are being in. So yeah, that's the biggest effect. But good to report that this year the lockdown for me was of hardly any consequence compared to last year. Last year was a shocker. I mean, I was not
Mm-hmm.
ready for something to come that fast and just like blow you out no way. I mean, I was waiting. I was going to write like we just got done with FMX, Red Bull FMX last year. That was the last thing that we
Right.
shot. And it was big. It was
Yeah.
nice. We were having fun. And I just come back
Right.
from Dakar, and then I went to Delhi and came back, and boom, it was over. Yeah. So
Yeah.
compared to that, this year, yeah, they eased it in a little bit,
Much better.
much
Yeah.
much better. But it was honestly, yeah, there are doubts. Sometimes it is when you're not working for 6 months, you don't know whether you got it anymore. Do you have it? Is there a requirement? Would people still look at action, like motorsports, but action sports as something that needs to be? Do you need to concentrate on it in a country like India? Will people even come back to it, or there are more trivial places to look? So yeah, it gives you a lot of like, okay, now what's going to happen? But
A lot of speculation and doubt, basically.
yeah, a
Fear,
lot of it.
uncertainty, doubt. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and having
Ishan, how did you start off in the very beginning? Like, okay, right now you're going through the FUD phase of it, which is uncertainty, fear, doubt. But at one point of time, a while ago, somewhere, you started with photography. How did you know that it was going to be action photography? How did you know that you were, and did you aim for Dakar, or did Dakar happen along the way? Like, what was your start like?
Oh man, I still remember many, just a few years ago, probably 4 years ago, I was watching one of these Dakar videos that everybody's casually watching, the bikes going in. And I'll be like, damn, bro, one day if I can just go watch one of it, it'd be so cool. Just to see all these guys, it'd be damn cool. And that's honestly what I thought about it. It wasn't,
Hmm.
I will be dishonest to say that, yes, I came thinking about action photography and I want to do it since, no way, man. Like, India is not an action sports country. We don't have that atmosphere where you can think that okay, one day I'll be doing something with action or sports in general. As it started on the base. It started. I was 13. It started at the very very bottom with an
You started at
internship.
13.
13. Yeah, it was 2011, and it was the break of my 2010 when you like. Since I'm from 1995, we went to school with the same years as the classes. So 2010, I was getting
Right.
done with my 10, 11, yeah. So that's, I mean,
Hmm.
you get that for at least for people from my. So
Yeah.
start at the bottom with a magazine, with a fashion magazine. Yeah, you,
Hmm.
you know, you look at, Western culture had a lot of impact. My brother went to study outside. When they came back, you would hear all these stories of cool things. kids, delivering pizzas and making some money, cleaning up lawns and making money, trying to, extra pocket money other than what their father's giving you. I wanted to do something in my 10th break because it's three months, I actually went to Smoking Joe's in camp in M0 and asked them, is it possible that I can deliver pizzas for you on the bike? Like I will cycle around, I will deliver pizzas maybe once in a... they said, no, this is not possible. You cannot do that. But that is where it started from. I wanted to do something. I found that internship online. There was literally nothing in 2011. If you would type photography jobs in India, there would nothing come up which would be even slightly relevant to photography. But there was this listing. The guy who wanted an intern. I spoke to him and he said, "Okay, sure, you can start 1 month." That was the entry. And of course,
And it was fashion.
And it was fashion. It was fashion. It was lifestyle. It was product. It's not like I was shooting. I was not shooting anything. I didn't even have a camera. I just got in because I knew, okay, photography. I took some photo on a phone camera here and there. I said, yeah, maybe it's good. I could do something with it. And that's how it started. It was the aim to see whether you're actually something. Do you actually know anything? Or because before that, I taekwondo, BMX, fencing, swimming, tennis, table tennis, bad, you name it, and I went and did that sport, and I'd be in 6 months I'd quit and I'd move to the next one. Roller skating, rollerblading, come on, I did everything. So was it gonna be another one of them that you do and then you just quit? So you had to be, after 10. Parents also have some, expectations.
Expectations.
You get that option whether you want to do science, commerce, arts.
That's all we had at that time.
Yeah, and it does pave a path of sorts for the future. It's not concrete, but you're clearing hedges. You're trying to make something. So if you make a decision, then it'll probably reflect somewhere ahead. Yeah. So with that magazine, you got exposed to seeing, okay, a magazine as a photographer, somebody's making the photograph for the cover page, somebody's writing the article, there's a way the magazine functions as a designer, they use InDesign, so that's how you go, oh, okay, there's a photographer, now the photographer, Samir Belwal, is this fashion photographer from Pune, now shoots in Bombay and around. It was really good. That's how and I remember the editor of that magazine said, hey, Ishaan, I want you as an assignment to edit these 6 photographs. He had shot something for La Senza, it's this lingerie brand. And
what a start.
Yeah, I was a kid, yeah, and you were just
straight out of the 10th standard editing lingerie photos on your first internship. Dude, this sounds like a dream start.
Yeah, except I didn't know what that definition of editing was. For me, editing, okay, at that point, okay, maybe I move the contrast, highlight, shadow. What else do you want me to do? And I sent it back. And then the guy called me the next day. He said, did you do anything to it? I said, yeah, I edited it. You told me to edit it. I did, like, my basic understanding. He said, no, you have to make sure the pimples go and you have to make the skin all smooth and you have to do, like, airbrushing. I said, so that's, so that was the first, I was like, damn, cruel, man. Like, it was in my wildest dream. I could not have come up with the fact that they wanted me to remove pimples and do these things on that. I would not have been able to dream it up. And that was my first, like touch and go with photography. And yeah, and then I figured, okay, there's this photographer. Maybe because he shot some really nice images. And before that, he had worked with Dharma Productions, did some movies with Shah Rukh Khan and stuff. I thought, yeah, he's got credibility. Time to go to do a workshop, a course, to see whether you know anything. Yeah. So you go to the workshop course and you try to be like, okay, no, I know. In reality, now when you look back, you know nothing at all. So you make photographs of, I remember cigarette butts. I made photographs. The main aim was to get to start working with them. Yeah, as an assistant.
Right.
Because I understood there is some inclination. If I went 40 kilometers in a day, all the way to like the other side of town, in public transport and come back and spend 2 months doing that, that was something. And I was a little interested. I said, okay, I will do this. I after like not harrowing. I proved my worth a little bit. At that point, it's not much of photography that skills than there are of physical skills. Can you lift things up? Can you tighten a knob? Can you production? That's what it is. You don't need to know the know-hows of photography. You need to have limbs to do work. You need to have skill to wash the utensil of chai after they had a shoot. stuff like that. That's what you got to know. That's what you do. I mean, that was it was. That's the truth. So yeah, but the good thing was, I figured that okay, I want to do this. Maybe I'll just go with arts. It's gonna save me some trouble working, like studying science and things, and not concentrate and much on
and
photography. I rather do
and then turn
these bits.
around.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a little confident, you haven't given up on it yet. It's been more than 6 months. Considering the ball happened before, you still at it. So
Right.
now you push yourself, because yeah, it's also in your head. It's not like you're not liking it, so you drop it and move on. Like you were trying to
Right.
challenge yourself, saying you've done it for six
Mm-hmm.
months. Are you going to be serious about it? You want to be serious? Here, take arts now. You're cutting down the
Mm-hmm.
future opportunities for you. You can't go to army anymore now. For example, like my dad was in the army. If you go to the army, that's what everything was. So no, I would take arts. So symbiosis, arts. In a way, was good. I didn't have to, science and things like that. I didn't have to pay a lot
No
of attention to
numbers and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no attendance. I was coming from bishops, so I never in my life sat on the same bench with the girl ever. So when I went to symbiosis, there was no uniform. It was amazing. We didn't have to get up at 5:30 a.m. It was amazing, yeah. And college started at 10 o'clock. You could walk in, people were smoking cigarettes. It was what
It
you saw
was
in the Western movies.
college in your
Yeah, it
face.
was college. Yeah, it was the new thing. And I was a fat, chubby kid. Not very fat, but I was a chubby kid. I still had my baby fat on. I was like, I was really young.
It's
And we
very
started.
weird to imagine you as fat.
It's a true story. Yeah? I mean,
Interesting. Okay, so but then, okay, so you started off, you figured out that this is a point of interest, you followed it through, you did some workshops, I'm guessing you self-taught a lot of things. How did the switch happen to motor photography or, um, you know,
just action sports. Yeah,
just action
to
photography?
away from passion. Yeah, away from passion, basically. That was
Right.
the shift. I mean, you have to be. Sometimes you have to be straight with yourself. It's okay if you don't want to be straight with the rest of the world around. If you're speaking to yourself, you have to be straight. There's no jokes around with yourself at least. And I had to call it as it was that I sucked at passion. I could replicate a photograph. I could duplicate. If I saw something, I could replicate it. It's not hard. I could do the same lighting. I could duplicate. I could never take inspiration. I could only replicate. And I called it. I said, yeah, I'm a good assistant. I went from four
Hmm.
to two. I was a good assistant,
Hmm.
not bad at all. But I was only executing what he was telling me, which in turn I was learning lighting, but I was not learning about fashion. And I had nothing for my brain, so I could not cook anything up for fashion. It was one side. I was just like replicate. And I think in a way, 12th, college was done. Junior college was no longer there. Now you have to take the next option. People after junior
Hmm.
college, according to your grades, you have to go to college.
Hmm.
Undergrad. So, I mean, real life is also moving on, and you're trying to live this game with photography, yes, but now the real life saying, okay, now what do you want to do? You want to go to, uh, what do you want to do? So, Symbiosis is the fine arts course, the Bachelor of Fine Arts. In a way,
Hmm.
I think it was good for me that I got to go to a college to get a bachelor's degree in fine arts, which is valid around the world, for a quarter of the cost and quarter of learning from there. We didn't learn anything in that college. It gave us a good degree that I could take and do a master's with. It gave me 3 years to understand what photography was, other than the technical nuances of the know-hows of photography, the real stuff. Okay,
Hmm.
what is your genres? They told me that okay, there are 10 genres of photography. I didn't know there were 10 genres. Because you have to choose your specialization. So that is what. When I got to that college, I was like, okay, I don't need to go on a shoot every day, which is shooting fashion. Now we're starting from the
Hmm.
bottom again. We're gonna go through a darkroom process, then we'll do journalism, fashion, product, tabletop, automobile, and so on and so forth. Genres of
Hmm.
photography. I was always adventurous. My dad was in the army. I was born in Dehradun. I grew up in Arunachal Pradesh with the tribals. I mean, back in 1997, Arunachal Pradesh. Today is also, I mean, come on, it's not like Bombay, Pune. It's very different,
Of
Arunachal
course.
Pradesh. Yeah. So in the 97, 1999, you can imagine what it was. My dad was making the road to China and stuff like that. And we were growing up to like playing with the tribals and always being out, going to riverbeds and always out. That was my key thing, always out.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, I
Hmm.
like adventure.
Hmm.
Come back to college and 2015. I was shooting some music events here and there, but still not aligned. Pune, if you know, are some good people. There were some good magazines in Pune. We had Bike India, Car India. We
Yeah.
had Overdrive at one point in India and in Pune. Pune's been like the
An
heart of
auto hub.
motorsport for sorts of in our country. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of things happen in Pune. I mean, for people who didn't know, on a motocross race, that gate which drops down was
Mm-hmm.
made by an engineer in Pune. In the
What are you
1960s,
saying?
there was a round of the World Motocross Championships. That's called like the
In
Motocross of Nations now. There was a round of the
right.
championships in Pune. In the 60s, there used to be athletes coming down to Pune to race and ride motocross in Pune. And before that, there used to be a rope that used to be dropped, and the guys used to start. This Pune engineer came up with the drop gear. So Pune was really, really bad. Yeah, and so I put together some resources here and there. I figured, okay, now the next move forward would be to go to a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I'm supposed to do an internship in the third year. Second year, I said, okay, maybe I can do it now. So in the third year, I can do a better internship. So second year, I pulled. No, it's not called strings. There was no strings to be pulled. It was hard anyway. Going to Bombay, live.
It's just yeah.
It's. So I just plugged some things here and there, and I got myself an internship at Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
That was my
And that's how auto started for you.
yeah 6 years ago. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
understood. Okay, Overdrive. You look at it as a person. Don't look at it as an organization which is owned by Reliance. So look at it as a person. Overdrive as a person needs to make money from somebody. They're pitching something. They're getting the money from somebody. Somebody's liking the idea. So that it's always working. The wheels moving. How is it moving? What are they doing? So I didn't look at it from an organization perspective. I looked at it from a perspective. Okay, how are they making the business happen? What is his
Mm-hmm.
business? Of course, and then you do good at your work as a photographer, and you continue to think, but you gain a lot more. You gain a little bit of credibility. You gain a little bit of contacts from here and there. You
Contacts.
understand, okay, this company likes to do things like this. This manufacturer likes to do this, and there was always options. Okay, do you want to join Overdrive or a magazine? Not just Overdrive. There were a lot of magazines. Do you want to join them as an employee on payroll?
Hmm.
I think that is the one good decision that I took. That I said no. I think that is too soon to call it. Like I think there could be a lot more. Maybe the cards that I have right now, I don't even know them. They probably could be really good. So I made sure to continue the relations. It's 6 years.
Right.
I had for 6 years. I had a contract with Network 18 Publishing, and I shot images for them. This is the first year that I did not, and we did not go back to signing a new contract. But I continued that, and that taught me so much. And that was it. That
That was your
through yeah.
mainstream automobile.
Through Overdrive, I shot the Raid the Himalaya. Through the magazine, I went to the Desert Storm. Before that, I didn't even know there was a rally in India in 2016,
Wow.
in 2017. So yeah, that was the foray. But yeah, you got to capitalize on it, and that's what I did. That's when I understood the genre of action sports, and good way for us. It was growing in India while we were also growing. Yeah, that's
Mad. And how did Dakar happen for you?
man. That was
Mm.
because of understanding this. I did some work for TBS Racing. TBS
Mm-hmm.
Racing wanted to take some journalists down to Morocco
Mm-hmm.
for the Rally du Maroc. Technically not for the Rally du Maroc, but to show them what Sherco has in terms of motorcycles. The French company that TBS was involved with.
Right.
So they called me and they said, okay, we'd like you to come down with our journalists and we want you to make some photographs of these journalists. So when they go back, when they write the
Mm-hmm.
articles, there are some photographs to do with it. So I said, okay, fair enough, I can do this. But I said, hey, if you want to go to Morocco, you all plan to come on the last stage and then do the press test after the rally. I will fly before the rally. I mean, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm going to go to
Makes
Morocco, I
sense.
might as well go for the rally, and then I will see you all at the end of the rally. And
Right.
and yeah, we were free-spirited souls. We can handle ourselves in different countries. It's not a big like, oh
True.
my God, I go to Morocco. What will you do? You don't know Arabic. It's not like that. So okay, so I made the deals and everything. That's the first time, I said, okay, I want to go to Morocco. I need to go to the Rally du Maroc. It's done by ODC, David Castera's event. We called them. I said, okay, I want to be coming in as a photographer. I want to shoot. Can I get a press accreditation? They said, yeah, I'll give you 1,800 euros and I'll give you the accreditation. I said, wait a second. I have to pay you money to get the accreditation?
You're not gonna
He
pay
said, yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a second. Because in India, it's always like, okay, come, everybody, the press come and you all shoot. But that was a new thing. Later on, you realize that, yeah, they're right that they charge you that 1,500 euros or 1,800 euros. The press officer, I mean, thanks to him, he's very appreciative of the fact that I was a young kid coming from India, far away. Nothing in the rally scene that time. That was Harit Noah's first rally also with TBS, for February. He said, okay, I'll give you a €300 discount, €1,500, and you can come. I'll give you the accreditation. You can shoot 5 days. And the accreditation includes a lot. You get the car to go around the whole time. You get the food. You get the stay. There's a lot involved in it. So in a sense, it was good. It also keeps a level, because anybody can come the next day and say, okay, I want to
Yeah.
shoot this for free. I undercut you by like euros and euros and euros. So there's no balance left. That's how I started. That's how I got there. And then, yeah, I mean, that was we shot the rally. Okay, we went from Fez to Arfood, from Arfood back to Fez. In Fez, I met the Sherko guys. Then we went from Fez back to Arfood. Now, when I was going from Fez to Arfood, there was this guy Eduardo Bauer, the guy who runs Eduardo and Cristiano, the guys who run Rally Zone, is the Italian agency that I worked with for the Dakar. That's the main agency. I met Eduardo in the stages also. Just there's not a lot of people there. There's only a handful of the photographers who make it there, and I was a new face there, and I was very excited. I wanted to speak to everybody, so I'm like talking to everybody possible. Like people I've seen them, I've seen them, been following them. I know the work that they do. I want to speak to everybody there. It needs to be what the time I'm going to be is 15 days. I want to get the maximum. Sherko also had Eduardo shoot for the European journalists. So the next day, after the end in Fez, Eduardo was going to drive back down to Arfood to shoot for the Europeans, while I was going to go back to Arfood to shoot for the Indians. It was the same event. So and that is where that is where the free spirit. That's where it's so important. If I do not take this away, I called you. I said I won't take the bus with y'all because they had a bus taking all the journalists. I'll come with Eduardo. It's that thing, in 5 days when you met a person from a different country, you didn't even know he's my father's age. In 5 days, I was able to make a ride with him and do like 600 kilometers. It was an 8-hour journey from where we were at the Marriott in Fez to go to Arfood. And I made that possible only because I spoke whatever. I had what it was. I made be at the right time, right place. I was in that car sitting with Eduardo, and we were making a drive to Arfood, and I spoke to him for 8 hours, man. And those 8 hours is what got me the deal. Like my first deal for Dakar in Peru.
Right.
That is how it started. And yeah, I mean, Dakar in Peru was also not easy, but yeah, that was that conversation. Plus also the shooting in Mazuga, because we were in the same places. He saw how quick I was working. I was picking up, okay, like these guys, you're shooting the same day, you're not delivering tomorrow, it's the same day. So I was picking up stuff, and I was also showing him that, hey, see, I can do this, I can do that. I'm also same level. Come on, let's push it. He's from the era of, like, he used to, like, he told me, Ishaan, I'm from the era where I used to go to Phillip Island to shoot Formula 1, and on Thursday or on Friday, we used to give the negatives to the Qantas airline pilot to fly back to Italy. The pilot used to take the rolls and hand it over to a guy who would come to the airport, pick it up, go to I think Trento or Milano, and then they would develop the photographs on Friday, free practice to put on the Sunday of who won. They're from that era.
Wow.
Now it's 120 seconds from the time the photograph's taken. Right. So in a way, I complimented what Rally Zone didn't have at that point, probably the young blood,
the youngness, the promptness.
We're the orange steel generation. We made all these filters and we made things look so glamorous, and which he probably had the same photograph, but he just edited normally. Yeah,
that's how Dakar happened.
Yeah, that's how it started for me, at least. Yeah.
And what was Dakar like? CS Santosh and Ashish have opened up the floodgates for Indian riders there. Santosh finished the first one, and a lot of stuff happened in the last Dakar. But India's finally acknowledging Dakar, at least on a smaller scale. But for you, as an Indian working there, capturing the sport when we don't even have enough people watching the sport here, how was it to be there the first time? What was it like between what the world saw Dakar as and what did you see Dakar as, being a fanboy from India?
To be straight, I saw it as an opportunity to pitch myself against the international photographers and see how good you are. There was no jokes there. There was no sideline. That was straightforward. Okay, you're on the same stage, you have the same equipment. How good can you be? Go ahead, do it. And that was it. That's what I looked at Dakar for me. It was a proving ground. You prove to yourself your worth. You say so much, you go and do it. Yeah, it's
And
important.
clearly you proved yourself considering you went there 3 times over.
Yeah, and and the deals only got better. You know, now I go as a pro photographer. I get the car to come to my door and pick me up to the airport and back to my house and get paid for
You
everything plus everything. So,
you
and
moved
come
up
the
in
first time
life.
I paid for half of it. So yeah,
Right,
it's good. But again, it's always proving again, because there are new people also coming. Everybody's just ready to.
right.
We're 1.3 billion people. There are always people ready to step into your shoes if you be a little bit complacent here and there. That was like the straight direct answer to it. But like I always tell people, India is the only country which has two manufacturers in the Dakar.
Hmm.
There's no other country with two manufacturers in the Dakar.
That
Okay,
is
yeah,
not
Honda
something you've
and
heard of.
yeah, Honda, Yamaha, yeah, you can say the Japanese, but Yamaha is so much more French
Japanese.
than this. Yeah, I mean, Yamaha in Europe and basically the racing part of it is very European, it's very French. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's part and part. Honda is still very to the core Japanese. So if you still put it like that, yeah, I mean, you can also say that Sherco and TVS have enough, but come on, we still have a Hero and we have a TVS
Hero
coming
and
from this one.
yeah.
Yeah, yet we have no. I can't say that we have no pride in them. We have, I think people have super pride, super proud of what they've done, 100%.
Right.
But it's only a small chunk of it. We let's not fool ourselves. We know India has a lot of problems, and Formula, like I was say, Formula Uno, MotoGP, and all of this is not a game right now. We have a lot more to look back at and figure that shit out. Then, because people, I tell the same things to people even in the Dakar when they ask me how does it feel to be in Saudi, how does it feel from India to be here? I tell them, yeah, it's cool, it's really cool. And they ask me why is it not so big in India? Because come on, people in India, 60% of them is difficult to put food on the table.
Right.
Let alone like I want my son to go race motocross and then go race around the world. It's not.
It's
It's
an
we've been
expensive
on
sport.
expensive. The reach is not there. The bikes they're not there. Exposure to that level is not there. So it takes time. No, it'll take time for them to come. But as an alone person there, I feel like yeah, man. Like when I go there, there's Prakasham who comes from TVS. So he's the other Indian, South Indian, and he doesn't like chicken. So he has a hard time every time. He doesn't eat non-veg. So there's Prakasham, the mechanic for TVS. Khalid comes. This time Ashish was there. There's one media manager comes for Hero. There's here Santosh. And last time the CEO for I think one of the heads for Hero had come down. Six of us,
Mm-hmm.
1.3 billion people, 7 of us made it there. Take it you take it as pride that yeah that I want to show people okay see the Dakar, this is what it is, give them some more. And I mean you can't say much more because it's not like you will change a lot. You're not going to make a big difference. You have to be real in this scenario. It's more a sport we're talking about. The difference has to be made. We still have Formula One happening over here. We saw what happened
Right.
over here. So you got to be a little bit more rational about what you're trying to, it's always good to say, yeah, now we'll rise but hey, don't. You're still in India, and
Reality
this
check.
exactly, and this reality check is what was served to me when I went to 2019 Peru Dakar, South
Mm-hmm.
America, man. Like my God, 100,000 people lined the freaking roads, man. Like 2017 Dakar, Edo told me 36 kilometers of roads were lined with people in Argentina, near Buenos Aires when they were coming halfway through. 36 kilometers of the road was barricaded, and there were people flagged all over it. I wasn't there, but this was 2017. I saw a video of it. In 2019, when I went to Peru, 1 lakh people, man. Like we were down, but on top, like on like a big cliff, and then on the bottom is where the Dakar presentation was happening and the flag off. The cliff was lined with people. It was like 100-meter tall cliff. There were people on top, and there was lined with people. There were people on the ground. There were people everywhere. It was, it was what we feel for cricket. For
Right.
IPL is what we feel for that. It was a very close feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's a reality. You understand, okay. Then you see, okay, you work with so many people, the French, the Italian. It's a French organization, the ASO. French, the Italian, the Portuguese, the Brazilians also speak Portuguese, the American, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Russian, the English. There's so many. And then you see, man, like yeah, it's we are 20, 30 years behind. We will reach there. You can't rush it today. And that is the check that you get around. And it's okay. See where you are, be happy that you got to be here. Now work. Now is the time
Mm-hmm.
to push. Like it's you have to make the images, you have to run. It's hardcore. I mean, my first Dakar I took it easy because I was also paying. I said, hey, come on, if I'm going to go to South America, fly for 28 hours, something like that, I went to Panama City. I went to so many things to go to Peru. I reached there. I said, okay, this time 50% work, 50% party. Because if you don't party in South America, how is it going to be possible? I partied a lot. The first, it was, I'm not even going to lie, man. I partied so much in Peru. And it was, because it was a way for me to be like, hey, come on, you got to chill a little bit also. You know, you're in Peru
Of
all the
course.
way from India, it's South America. You can look around you, like you'd be foolish not to be partying. You know, I missed the stage in the morning because I was so drunk till like 4:30 at night. Not my best start, but yeah, I mean, some stupid. I was also very young, but did enough work to come back. But the next day when I went back to Saudi, it was a better deal. So I said, there's no party this time. There is no party this time. So in a way, it was good. You're operating at 100% efficiency, and yeah, then you take it seriously. You take it a lot more seriously. But yeah, you get a reality check in terms of when you go out of India, and any Indian, whenever you go, as is true for any sport, any Indian, you go as an Indian, you go to the Olympics. Yes, you have your shooting happening in India, but you see the shooting outside, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Yes, you have a lot of things happening in India, but when you go out, yes, you have the ISL happening in India, but why is it different from the English Premier League? That's your answer for everything like that. We will arrive at it.
Right.
Maybe today, right now, is not the time for India. We're also, I mean, it's a big population. So yeah, every time
Learning.
an Indian, yeah, we go out to a racing event outside, and you feel like, wow, man, like this is why. This is
The
why
professionalism, the etiquette,
it's
the being on time part of it.
beyond it's beyond par, man. Like you, it's eerie. It's if you just. And in Morocco, a guy came up to me and said, "Dude, you're smiling so much." I said, "Yeah, my bike was off because I'm looking at all these Dakar bikes around me. I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen this traveling. Look at that. It's too real, dude." Yeah, and yeah, that was. But yeah, but like I said, the main aim was to you get a level playing field. Yeah,
Hmm.
you can say I'm Indian, so and so, blah blah blah. But when it's time to start like shooting, it's the level playing field.
Right.
It's up to you how you make. You were shooting against the Getty photographer. I mean, I'm also a Red Bull photographer, but there are people a higher level than me at Red Bull also who are shooting over there. There's so many. There's DPPI. There's so many agencies. The best in the world are there to be shooting, and you're in the same place as them. And we work for the 7 factory teams for motorcycles. So our work is not easy. I mean, we're working for KTM, Husqvarna, Sherco, GazGaz, Honda, Yamaha, Hero. So it's a lot of work, and yeah,
You have a lot of riders to catch at the same time.
yeah, and a lot of
So,
recognition.
yeah. And so while we know that Dakar's a difficult rally for motorcyclists and the riders and the drivers participating in it, and as a photographer, I've seen your feed, you're covered in sand half the time. Like you look like a golden child. But what are your challenges as a photographer when trying to capture something as Dakar, which is so dynamic? Stages stretch across hundreds of kilometers. You start in one place, you end in another. It's not even in a loop. It's not like F1 where it's just in the same place. You're moving literally cities. So, what is it like to be a photographer for a sport that's so dynamic?
It's like there's a ritual. I call it out
Hmm.
whenever this is. I was looking. I think this time you were in apartments. I looked at Edo. I said, Edo, this is the last time you get to use a washroom. Edo, this is the last shower we're gonna have. And Edo looks at me. He's like, yeah, it's true. But yeah, that's how it is. There is no after that. So it starts on the day of the flag of podium. Before that, you get to
Hmm.
go. I mean, before that, the timings are pretty relaxed. You get to go to the hotel. You can chill at night. Everything is cool. But the flag of podium and it starts like that
Hmm.
is you knocked in and you get out of it after 13 days. There's nothing in the middle. It took me 7 days to have a shower at the Dakar this year. I had a shower on the day of the podium day in the morning, and it was 7 days after that that I had a shower again. Like my hair was like matte, like I could not even move my fingers out of my hair like that. And you're doing 3 hours of sleep. You're shooting 5 hours alone in the desert most of the times. On a lucky day, maybe there's somebody around you. A few more photographers, 1 or 2 kilometers up or down. And being alone 5 hours in the desert, shooting 400 vehicles passing by, then going back into a car which will come and collect you, and then you have to edit those photographs. You have to send them out to all your clients in terms of urgency. You have to fill in an Excel sheet saying, okay, you've delivered to every client because you can forget 120 clients, so you have to deliver. and it's important that the photographs go out to, there is no point if the guy is finished, like Toby Price has finished the stage and the photograph doesn't come to him for 2 hours, he's not interested anymore. He go back to his trailer and he sleep. So yeah, you're delivering, and then it's 4G. Sometimes you have to stop at a petrol station to deliver because you don't have 4G on the road, so you cannot make your way the next 4 hours that you have to drive to the next bivouac. Because when you leave the stage, when you leave where you slept the night before, you drive 2 hours. Maybe you leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, you drive till 5 o'clock to reach the stage where you shoot for the day. We drop you at a place, or you choose a place. You say, okay, in my mind, from what I see, how motorcycles and cars go, this looks like a place where the car will come sideways and maybe there's an action. You call it out, or you discuss. You think, Arrow, this looks, you said, yeah, okay, this looks good. I will stop here. But I also see a kilometer radius, what is around me. Maybe this doesn't work. I can run 500 kilometers up and down to find a better place to shoot. So you keep your eyes open, you drop down, you plan ahead. Okay, 6 hours. Okay, I need water. I need some food. I need, hopefully that's pretty much it. So you put some water, you put some food, you get your cameras, your 3 cameras, you got memory cards, everything out. You're dropped, the car is gone, and it's silence after that. Then you just wait for the helicopter to go. You have to keep yourself occupied. You have to keep yourself entertained. You can speak to yourself. You can count number of rocks. You can count shrubs. You can see how many different kind of birds you saw. You can do anything. Whatever keeps yourself. Yeah, you gotta keep yourself active. Then becomes the bikes. Then it starts. Then the real work. Okay. First bike goes. You see, okay, good place. The first bike sets the pace. The first bike makes the track. Everybody pretty much follows the same track. It's road book, so it's not a racetrack, there's nothing paved in front of you. So wherever the track is open, and in normal cases, where the first bike goes is where the last truck also goes from. Worst come worst, a few meters here and there, but that is the area. So you have an idea, okay, what do you have? You have rocks over there, you have a jump, you have this. How can you maximize it? You want to make more than one photograph per rider. You want to make 3 cameras, at least 3 different angles if possible. So you're trying to move, you don't want to come straight. So then you're putting your mind to use. Then you're in deep. You see the first guy said, oh, he looks so good over there. By the time he came to me, maybe it wasn't that great, so maybe I move a little bit. If I go like this, I can get him. If he's coming straight towards you, yes, you can make a wide angle shot when he's close to you. Because from far, you can't make a wide angle shot. But if your telephoto shot is only of him from the straight, it looks very blur. Because you can only see front of the bike. So you want to be possibly in a position where you get a corner, where you get a far shot of him coming, him cornering into getting a proper action shot, and then him approaching you and jumping. So you're trying to look for the right place. Hopefully you find the good place. It's a good day for you. Then you make your photographs. Then by the time 4 or 5 hours will pass, you will eat something, you will have some water. Then okay, last car is gone. Your car will come. Whoever's dropped you will come pick you up. You will sit in. You will exchange pleasantries of how the stage was. You will exclaim, okay, and this is important. Like Edo will tell you, I had amazing photographs of Honda, but for KTM, maybe the first rider not so much. I say, okay, no, KTM first rider, I got something, so I need to know where that first rider image is. Same for the cars. Okay, do you have good for years? These are things you got to know. Like I can't tell you, okay, do you have a good photograph of the orange Repsol car? No, it's Isidre. You should know who the guy is, the driver is. Do you have a good photograph of this? Do you have a good photograph of that? No, I said that. And I tell him, I have a good photograph of the Yamaha. Do you have one of this? No, then I will give you the Yamaha. You give it to him, and so you're trying to maximize the amount of work because you want good material to go out. So you spend a lot of time on that. You pack up your cameras. I'd really like to drink the chocolate milkshake. After this chocolate milkshake, one bun, some. So you sit in the car, you have something to eat, and you say, okay, now we will go to the road because you start editing on the road. So work's not over. Like it's 10 o'clock, but you're only done halfway through. Now you have maybe on a good day 300 kilometers to the place where you're going to rest at night or where you will have your dinner or where your media room is. Now in that 300 kilometers, you've got to start editing. You've got to deliver to 120 clients. There is no shortcut. There are 3 of us. You divide the work however you want to divide. Who wants to take the top teams? So you understand, like, okay, a top manufacturer needs to be delivered before a privateer because for obvious reasons. So you dedicate, you get people to work accordingly. You start editing. Now it's not a Mercedes Benz, okay? It's a Toyota. It's a race car. It's got a roll cage. You're sitting on Sparco race seats with 6-point harnesses, and there's a refrigerator in the middle. And it's not very big. You have all your luggage. It's not like there's a hotel I can go to. So all of our luggage is in that car. Everything's around. You adapt and you start working. Okay, now I'm going to start working. You start editing. Yeah, and then try to make it as fast as possible. Just after that, it's about like Edo told me, you waste a lot of time on Instagram. I honestly did this time because I would keep making stories and there would be so much happening that I would keep going out and checking, what's happening. So
Ah,
after that, it's how you maximize your time. Because I also took videos in the morning, when there was no network in the state. I want to put them out. I want people to know what's happening. So sometimes, yeah, sometimes you're like, no, man, I don't have the time today. I have to edit because it's getting late. Because see, there is no two ways. You have to deliver. If you deliver fast, you get time to spend some time. You have the time to go back to the bivouac. Look at yourself a little bit. Eat, maybe change your t-shirt. Have some time to sit down for half an hour, speak to some people. Go to some, go to your friends in the bivouac. Go to teams that you know. Build communication. Build connections. Talk to people. Make yourself visible. Understand what's happening. It's important. Especially being an Indian, you're not going to see them for the next 365 days. So make it count. So if you get done with work on time, then you can put some time into these other things, which is important also. I mean, that's how you probably get the next gig that you have to shoot. You never know, if you maybe speak to one nice guy over there. So it's important that you do that. And it's only if you have the time. You cannot not deliver and say, okay, I'm going to go and while away my time today. It's impossible. So the earlier you finish delivering, the earlier you have dinner, the earlier you go. And when I say early, it's not like I've never had dinner before 10:30, 11. I've never slept before 12:31. It's not possible, but because you want by the time you get done the whole thing, because you also have to. Sometimes it's not 300 kilometers straight drive. Like I said, you have to stop at a petrol station because you don't have 4G anywhere. Sometimes the 4G is so good at one place that you don't want to leave. You are on the highway
park
suddenly.
yourself.
Yeah, like literally. Edo, 4G, pull. And you pull over and you stop in half an hour. Everybody's just waiting to send out some files. So all of that cumulatively adds on by the time you reach. So by the time you're back at the bivouac, it takes some time and then into 12. Just day after day after day. And every day has its own challenges. Some days you have to go and start because you have to make the good photographs. So you have to be in a good place. To find the good place, there needs to be good reconnaissance before that. You need to look at your maps. You need to. I mean, they don't give us a point exactly saying okay, this is where he will come from. So we need to compare some notes, understand. So thankfully, Edo has been doing this for decades now. So it's easy. We can look at the route books and the maps and understand where to go. Make the strategy for the next day. Speak to the other teams around where's everybody going because there's no point in making three of us the same photographs. We want to all three of us make three different photographs.
Different photos.
Yeah. So it adds on in terms of okay, what are you trying to achieve? So this is a day. Like what I just said is a day in Dakar, and then you have to do it over and over again. And like, and you cannot be energetic. Like no. So example, we spread it out. Edo and Cristiano are usually very energetic in the first half of the Dakar, the first 5 days. Good so. But since they're also a little old, so they phase out by the time we go after the rest day. Like somebody's legs are paining, and like they like do a car. My head is pain. So then that's the time for me. That's where the last 6 days is where I have to is like I'm editing more of it. I'm doing more of it because in the end, you also want to know because there's a spreadsheet. There's an Excel sheet. If you're not making it up, you know how much you're delivering every day. You go back and see how many times you delivered, how many times Edo delivered, how many times Cristiano delivered. You'll know how much work you've done. So there's no shying away from that. So yeah, this is a day. Yeah,
Insane. And this
and there are
happens for
some
like 10, 15 days in a
yeah,
stretch.
and there's some curveballs that
Insane.
come along once in a while. So you
Like
have to be
apparently when your laptop was crushed is what Steve is saying.
yeah, man, like that that it was it was
Tell us
only
what
because
happened.
yeah, like and when like I said, if you reach early, you have the time to socialize and move around and meet people and make friends. Good, I did that in the first 2 years. That somebody came up, not somebody, like somebody came and said, "Hey man, Ishaan, I have a laptop. Take it, use it. I have a spare laptop." I was like, I was blown, man. I was
How
like,
did
it's
it
not
get
possible.
crushed?
We were in stage number 4, and Yazid Al Raji is one of our clients, and he's with the Toyota. He's normally very fast. He comes in the top 4 5. And what he said, I didn't see him all day. I said, where is he? It's not possible that he's not crossed us because he's one of the top riders. So he normally comes really, really very fast. So what I said was that, hey, that yeah, yeah, I didn't see him all day. We were back in the car. I was wrapping everything in. I said, okay, now we will put everything together, get in the car and leave. And his manager comes and says, oh my God, he picked up 3 punctures today, so you have to he's coming in 5 minutes, make some photographs of him. I said, okay. 3 punctures means that you only have 2 spare tires in your car. You don't have more than 2 spare tires. So for the third tire, you have to wait. So basically, when the spare truck comes, your backup truck, he'll give you the next tire. So you have to wait for the trucks to start. So by the time you come, it'll be a long time. So Edo came to where I was shooting. So we said we'll take a photograph from here. I had packed everything up. I removed my cameras, 2 cameras. In India, we drive on the right-hand side. So I kept my bag on the rear right wheel of the car, thinking that when Edo goes to the car to sit and drive, you'll see it because it's on the right side of the car. It didn't strike me that it's a left-hand drive freaking car. He's not going to go from the right side. I anyway went out, I shot and everything. The next thing I see is that my bag is in front of the car. It's one of those things, you're like, wait a second. And the car is coming. You're telling him now you're making the photograph. But in the mind, like, dude, I left the. Then you also think, dude, did you leave it there? I'm like, yeah, I left it on the rear of the right car. Yeah, right side rear. Now it's in the left front of the car. I said, okay, must be something. Nobody told me anything happened. I picked it from there. I thought maybe I didn't know where I kept it. Packed everything in. Took my laptop out. Kept it in my lap to start editing when we get to the highway. The highway was now very far from there. So I sat back on and we started driving. I had this case, this UAG case because it was a 16-inch Mac. So I thought maybe I should put a case on it. So I put a case, and the case was a little crooked from the right side. It's like, why is it open, man? Why is it not shutting? Now it's shutting, it will still pop open. Something wrong. So I popped it open, yeah. And when I was opening it, I was like, oh, no way, man. The freaking screen was cracked. It was cracked, like it was cracked in how. It was. And then I looked at it. Yeah, it wasn't shutting because the freaking thing was bent. Like it was bent. Like it was warped. Like the car had gone. Then I realized, okay, what had happened. Then I said, Edo, do you know what happened? I said, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, my laptop's not working anymore. It's a little bent. It's a little crooked. There's nothing on it. But thankfully, it was connecting. Like the memory was still working, but the laptop was not. So I looked at it, I said, oh, okay, and that means no editing for the day. So thankfully, they delivered it. But yeah, that was my, Edo drove over my laptop. Yeah, he drove over my bag. My bag has an exoskeleton. It was crooked. The laptop I still use it. The laptop is behind this phone. I use it as a CPU now. I hook up all my external monitors to it. So yeah, it's still there. And it's still crooked. The screen still doesn't shut from the left. It's still open. Yeah, but yeah, it's a sturdy product, man. Like when you plug it into my other Mac, it reads the hard disk and it works. So in that way, it's good. But yeah, and
that's just a
thankfully, man.
story, man, Ishaan.
Yeah, and
How do these things happen to you?
It's now maybe I will definitely not make the mistake of keeping my bag on a tire of another car. I will not. I will keep it a little bit to the side. Or I will. In India, it would have been totally fine because the driver would have gotten from the right side, and that's what I tell myself. I said, "Come on, man! I know should get on the left side. Why do you keep on the right side?" And it's the fact that you thought about it. It came to my mind. If I leave it here, if Edo moves, he will drive over. I said, okay, so I should keep it on the right time. And I thought about it. I said, yeah, I thought about it. And the same thing that you thought about, like literally 5 minutes ago, happens to you. It's like you saw the future and you thought you did everything for it, and it turned out to be. But yeah, damn, man, I was happy I could get another Mac, and man, like you shout out to Josh, man. Josh Sampiero saved my ass with his laptop. Yeah, that's the Dakar. Imagine a guy who's packing for the Dakar. He said, "Do I need a spare Mac?" He said, "Yeah, I need it." Put it back into the bag, and he took it with him from Australia to Dakar. So that tells you something about the event that you're going to shoot. If you're to carry a spare laptop, like I carry 2 spare bodies. Like I carry 5 cameras to the Dakar.
Wow.
I wouldn't take a spare laptop, because like you don't think a lot would happen. But yeah, that tells you a lot about the Dakar. Yeah,
so Harshita is asking, how do you keep your electronics safe in such a hectic environment? Like beside the laptop that crushed, how many cameras do you lose in the car, or how many cameras break, or how many cameras stop working because of all the sand?
Yeah, cameras stop working. That is true, man. I take 5 cameras to the Dakar. That's how many cameras I would take to any event that was not in the country. I would take 500 because 3 are needed, 2 are backup. One of them, the backup could be the remote camera, and the next one, if you're using the remote one, the next one becomes your backup of the one that you have. So you take 5 cameras. I'm using 1DXs, the 1DX is bulletproof magnesium alloy bodies. Nothing's gonna happen to them. So I know for a fact that those cameras with those lenses, yeah, dust is a big problem. It does get inside all the rings. Everything makes like cool noises, so yeah, kind of irritation. But as part of it, you can get it serviced when you come back. But when you take good equipment, nothing happens to it. I mean, come on, take some care with it. Like, yeah, they bang around and stuff, but of course, if it's raining, just don't take it out. But in general, the point for being a professional is that you got to remove everything that could sideline you from performing your duties at 100% efficiency. You got to remove them. Anything that could be a distraction, like a camera not working, you got to side it away. It happened to me. I was running in Dubai at the autodrome. My camera fell down. I broke my 24 lens. It could have been a big problem, but I had a spare camera. I sidelined it. I saved the day for me. It's happened before. You break. The lens broke off the camera, man. Like this part of the lens, the mount stayed inside the camera and the lens was on the ground. And wasn't a cheap lens. It was the 24 1.4. It was a very expensive lens. It happens, So yeah, the point is to prepare in a way where you can eventually rule out all. I mean, you have an answer for every scenario. It's like a racing team. It's not like anything, but you got to be ready for every eventuality that will be thrown at you, when especially in the Dakar route. If it's in India, even in Dakar, I try calling. I call Apple. I call many places. It's a problem. No Arabic is. This happened on Thursday. Friday is a big holiday in Muslim countries. It's not a problem there. In India, it's maybe easier. You know the language Hindi. You can call up people. Maybe there's a person selfless enough to drive 200 kilometers, give it to you. But in Saudi, to pull a favor like that is difficult. So when you're not in India, you got to take a little bit more effort. When in India, you got to play to the fact that you know the country to avoid. But yeah, if you buy the lens which costs more money than the lens which costs less money, I'm telling you, the more money lens is more money lens costs for a reason.
For a reason.
It's the reason. Good quality comes at a freaking price, man, and you can't deny it. It's true.
Wow. And if there are people watching this or going to watch later, and if they want to follow in your footsteps but don't have the patience to do the entire thing, because right now we're the impatient generation, at least not us, the younger ones are. Where would you tell them to start? Where can they network? What can they do? What should they practice? How should they get around at closer to home?
It's a question which I asked myself. I said, how do I go through international motorsport? There was no pathway. Now I made a foray. There have been a few more people who made a foray. Now there is a pathway. How do you move towards it? You have to shoot, man. Like you have to take those photographs. It's important. It's your job as a photographer. But he's not hiring you to be a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
He's hiring you so that you can take away everything that is related to photography, media. If you can give the media officer or the person who's hiring you a good enough time and less tension in life, that's your job. Yes, you have to make photographs. But if you can get out of your way and helping them with many other things, it's good. So, yes, now as a photographer, yeah, composition, all that stuff, you find it online. You know what to do, you know what to shoot. It's in this time and age, it's delivery. And it's not just true for this thing, it's true for everything. It's that the news cycle in this day and age is so fast that if something happens now and you think is right or is possible for you to deliver tomorrow, you're already wrong. It's not like that. If something's happened now, you have to deliver now. It's only valid now. It's not valid tomorrow. So find a workflow that works for you. I found one which works for me based on everything that's online. It's not possible that what works for me or what works for a Mark Sutton or what works for a Marian Chitka will work for you or work for me. These are photographers who've done really well from Europe and around. I mean, Mark Sutton's been there for ages now. So you have to find what works for you, your workflow. You have to simplify it. You have to make it flow in your head. That flow is what's important, That and it comes with time. It took 10 years, and I'm still not somewhere like I want to go so much further. Right? Look at around. There's Formula One in Monaco today. I could be there shooting. Am I there? No. Is there things that you can do to make yourself be there? Yes. Should you do that? Yes. So look around yourself, and there is so much to be. It's how do you put it? It's yeah, I mean, keep shooting and all that. You can say those things. Yes, it's true. You can keep shooting, make it better, make better photographs, do all of that. Uh, yeah, but listen, if you want to shoot motorsports and internationally or Indian, you got to be less Indian. I'm telling you. Like, this is something that I've learned. And I'm not kidding. Like, no disrespect to the country, but you got to be a little less Indian. Because if you spend like and maybe it's got nothing to do with you being a better photographer there, but I'm just telling you, it'll make your life so much more easier. If your communication is better with the people around, if you can speak to an Italian person, to a French, to a Russian, to anybody who's not good in English, you can understand, you can convey, you can download, you can upload, your life will be so much easier. Then you can shine as a photographer. Then you can go and utilize the opportunity that you have in front of you of shooting and giving those photographs out. To use, like I said, the Dakar was a level playing field for everybody international for me. Now people, when I go in 3 years, people say I'm part of it's like you're part of the Dakar family of photographers. It's true, right? Because yeah, I mean, you make good images. You took the opportunity very well, but yes, you spoke to them quite easily, and yeah, it's difficult to point out what you have to do to be in that because there is yeah, when racing starts in India, come to the track, shoot. Go to Chennai, shoot photographs, understand the sport better, understand the athlete's perspective a little better, understand motorcycles, understand cars, understand racing, understand how engines work, have a bit deeper understanding. Then understand marketing, how our marketing works, understand business development. Why would a brand spend money on something which makes them no money? Every manufacturer wants to sell. Their main goal is to sell more products. If you, with your photographs, can make that possible, it's good. It's not always possible, but that is so understanding. You cannot learn photography. I cannot impart it to you. I can tell you about composition and take care of this and that. But eventually, you have to understand this whole broad array of things if you want to be an independent, successful photographer in the world. Business, marketing, communication, and then underlying is photography. If you do these things good, it'll push you up. It'll add something to you. And it's true, man. Like Xerxes, you did so you used to go teach marketing to people. Like you used to do brand strategies and all of these things. What is the problem if a photographer learns that or a media person learns that and he makes the job of the media officer that he's working with so much more easier because he knows what the image is, what they want. You know? Like
Right.
I don't need to come and tell you that, hey man, if he wins, get me a photograph of his emotions. I just don't want one with him a trophy. If you
Yeah.
get good emotions, he gets more likes. What is it? It's all based on likes and stuff. How you make a photograph for Red Bull today, tomorrow somebody else made a photograph for Red Bull. How was the difference? How many likes you got? In your mind, I'm not telling this is the proving ground to the world, but how do you say who did a better job? We all did a good job. But you see what is being appreciated more. It's important.
So
Learn all of
basically,
these things.
summing it up is like besides your basic skill set of photography, you need to be a decent communicator. You need to be efficient in your work and timely in terms of delivery. You can't be procrastinating on the job. Have the knowledge about what you're shooting. If it's sports, then sports, fashion, then fashion, motorsports, then motorsports. Know what you're doing, and then basically make the person who's hiring you that person's job a little bit easier, and then he'll thank you for that. Basically,
Yeah,
that's
and
what you
then
were
if
summing
you
up.
can, yeah, and then if we can have fun with the people who hired you for the job, I think that's the cherry on top because
Yeah,
they'll
they'll
always
remember
remember you
you
for the
for
good
it.
times. Yeah.
Yep, 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 yeah.
And then tomorrow, when they want to get another guy for this job, they'll choose you because
Yep,
maybe y'all make the same images, but they had a better time with you.
right.
But
So be a
I
good
wanted to ask
person,
you some
right?
questions, but I think the time is over. But you went on a trip with Kia all the way to the north, and you all drove and everything, and you came back. How was the trip, man? That was damn
Dude, it
cool.
was
You
great.
all
I
took
mean,
this.
so honestly, it was me wanting to get out of Bombay because I was a little stuck at home and I was like, I need to go out. And I reached out to Kia, asked them if I could take a car from them, and they said yes. So I flew to Delhi, took a car, drove, and I thought of making content, but no one watches long form content anymore. So I was like, okay, reels are the new thing. I don't want to dance in it. So I'm gonna make travel reels because not many people are doing that. So I shot content. I had a friend editing for me in Bombay, so I used to send him content and I used to edit and put it up. It was fun, and Himachal. I mean, I've only done Himachal twice. This was my second time in my life. The first time I did it on a motorcycle from Bombay all the way, KTM, and the second time this was in a car. And I mean, as always, it was hectic. I don't get stoned. I am always moving. I'm always doing treks. Like we did 3 treks this time. We did 49 kilometers of walking in just a span of like 12 days. We drove about 1500 kilometers. So yeah, it was a good break, but like by the time I came back and the content was getting edited, like India was going through its second wave of COVID. So at that point of time, I was like, oops, I'm not sure if I should be putting up travel videos at this point of time. But then, like you
Yeah.
said, relevance, right? I mean, you have to get it off. You can't use it later. Like, what do I say? Sorry,
Yeah.
put it on hold because people are dying. I'm gonna put it now because less people are dying. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was fun. I haven't been that much into automobiles. I mean, I've done a few things here and there. We've bumped into these events whenever I have. But yeah, there's a lot left to do. So let's figure.
So you still have your Triumph?
Yeah, I have my Triumph, I have my KTM,
You have the
and I have an
KTM, the Capri,
Activa.
you have the Activa, and then you drove the Kia. Okay, you drove the Kia, you all drove it around the hills, and you came back. Now, what is your ideal car? I want to know.
Um,
Since you drove a car, what is in your mind if you had to buy a car, old, new, used, unused, used car, which would be damn cool, or a new car which is very plasticky, character, less character, exhaust noise. What is your thing for a
So,
car?
honestly, if I was not in the country, I would want to get an American muscle, ideally a vintage, a Camaro maybe, a Mustang maybe. But considering we're in India and the terrain that we have, it would have to be a mid-size SUV, not too big. The Sonnet was actually pretty decently sized and priced, and it was great to drive with. But then I've also driven the Evoque, which is fucking gorgeous and beautiful to drive. I mean, I had more fun driving the Evoque compared to driving the Discovery, because I feel like the Evoque has a smaller body, so I'm a lot more powerful with that weight ratio. So if I had to pick up, in fact, I'm wishing to pick up something in this year, but I don't know, fucking COVID screwing up the income stream. It would be one of those SUVs with the 1.5 liter turbo engine, good enough for India because I'm not going to take it cross country or anything. I was a little afraid when I took the Kia. I was like, will it be good enough on the hills? It's not on the higher end of the SUV segment. It's feature loaded, but how is the engine? And I drove it and I was like, okay, this is cool. I was driving like one of the Himachalis, and Himachalis ride bloody altos up and down that mountain like they don't care. And the Sonnet was keeping up just that. And I love riding in the night. I don't drive in the day because I think that's when all the assholes get out because they don't know how to drive. So they're scared and they drive in the morning. So I drive in the night when the roads are emptier and the locals are out. So yeah, I mean, I had a blast driving, so I'm gonna probably pick up one of the mid-range SUVs itself. That's good enough for me. I have no ambitions to pick up a big Beamer, a big Audi, none of that. I mean, great, they're great looking cars, but thanks, I can't. I won't be able to drive them around here.
But in the back of the mind, your car is still the car with the character, no, the old muscle car. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
that's the one you
that.
want to be in.
Yeah, like
Still there,
Autolog
scared of
has
twins,
the
quickly running.
Hot Wheels themed Contessa, dude. Like
Is whatever, yeah.
that stuff is the stuff of legends. Like I mean, I was watching Nobody the other day, and he takes off that car. If you've seen the movie, you should see the movie. It's gorgeous. I mean, and he just breaks into the neighbor's car, just drives off 0 to 60, and I'm gonna find out now. It's American muscle cars and their unreliability in what's gonna happen when you hit the pedal is something what I got in motorcycles when the KTM came to India. Because you
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna happen every time you twist the throttle on that motorcycle. You're gonna fall, you're gonna fly, you're gonna reach your
Yeah.
destination maybe. So yeah, American muscle is just like that, right?
True.
But
Nice. Good to know. Character cars, yeah. I like cars
mhm.
with character. Pretty
But
cool,
yeah, that
man.
was fun. We didn't really get to talk much about COVID, but we did get to talk a lot about action photography and all of that. So thank you so much